Snow, and of course Maggie Kelley of at Best of Bravo. And if you guys don't follow them on Instagram, go do it right now. And if you do, great. They're going to host tonight and discuss the finale, and I'm going to pop in for a Q&A. But thank you, Maggie and Christian, for joining us. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I do want to just do a little housekeeping before we get into everything. We received a ton of questions already, but if anyone who is joining and watching, please put in questions in the Q&A section. We're going to kind of comb through those and ask them later on in the show, and we will obviously do our best to get to all of them. And to give you an idea of the night, I'm gonna throw it over to Christian and Maggie in a few minutes, but just to kind of, give you guys an idea, we're gonna do a little Watch What Happens Live inspired game, a little warm up our guests, warm up our audience, and then we will dive into a conversation where Christian and Maggie are gonna break down that finale last night. That 90-minute finale, which I just learned, I watched it and didn't even realize I was treated with 90 minutes of Bravo, which I can't take that for granted these days.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we'll go into the Q&A. So you'll have about 25-30 minutes to put in your questions, and then I will ask Maggie and Christian all of your questions. We'll talk predictions for season 2, because we do know we're getting a season 2 of Salt Lake City, and anything Bravo related, ask it, and we'll try to get to it. Of course, we have, and I already said this to Christian and Maggie, but one thing I request that we discuss is Meredith's beaded mask of the finale party. Before we get into everything, I do want to say for all of our attendees, we have a promo code for you to experience the Dipp. You just have to go to thedipp.com and create an account. Promo code is DIPPIN, DIPPIN, and that is for 50% off of a subscription. So it's a great deal. Don't give out promo codes a lot, so definitely take advantage of it. And I think that's it for housekeeping. So I think we should just dive into the game. And I tried to make it feel like I was Andy Cohen. I didn't want to overdo it, but I have a game for us, and it's for you guys really, but I will enjoy it. And it's called Stay or Go Away. And I would love for you guys to just kind of warm up and tell me, go down the Housewives list of Salt Lake City. Who do you want to stay and who do you want to go away for season 2? And I'm going to throw it to you guys, and I will hop back in during the Q&A portion, but I'll let you guys take it from here.
See you soon.
Bye.
All right, Maggie. I think that we should both go through and say who all we want to stay.
Okay.
And then we'll have to talk about the reasons why we think that if anyone should go, who it is and why.
Okay. Well, I do not want anyone to leave. I don't know how you feel, because Christian and I, we text every day, but we have not been talking about Salt Lake City on purpose. So I don't want anyone to leave. I want them all to stay, every single one of them. And I think maybe adding another housewife would be a good move, and maybe another friend. Yeah. But I think I want them all to stay. What about you?
I don't know. I just feel like even though there's been so much kind of petty drama throughout the season, I feel that viewers still are equally torn, which is a good place to be as far as Housewives goes, because the moment that everybody's on one side or everybody feels a certain way negatively about a cast member, their chances are they're pretty much done, So the fact that there are still people that are still kind of team Jen, and then a lot of viewers that are also still team everyone else, I think just kind of gives enough reason, as to why everyone should come back next year. There's still more work to be done. But let's go down the list and we'll talk about why we think they should stay, and if they did go away, maybe why it would be. Okay. So we'll start with Queen MVP. Let's just be honest. Heather Gay. Love her.
My favorite.
I don't even want to use the words go away in the same sentence as her. It just feels wrong. So I think we should just skip right over this. Obviously, she's everything. She's given us honesty. She talked about her marriage. She's introduced us to her children, business ventures, religion, obviously.
Yeah, I love Heather too. She's my favorite for sure. I just feel like she's so relatable, and I feel like I can't think actually of a housewife in any other franchise that I could hang out with and have a good time with more than Heather. Like, I just feel like she would be so fun and so nice and she's just so normal. Like, I just feel like I don't know. I feel like she's probably mostly like a lot of people's favorite, but I love her. I can't help it.
Yeah, I feel within the first couple episodes, I felt, and we'll move into Whitney with this. Like, I feel watching the first couple episodes, I was like, you know what? Whitney and Heather have just signed the dotted line with Bravo for many, many years to come. Like, I think we're going to be watching their children for the next 10 years. It's going to be very much like a Melania Gia situation. You know, we're just going to see their whole lives, you know, from this point on. Because I do think that Salt Lake will be an enormous success, even more than it already has been. But I just think that those two, you know, and just like Heather, Whitney just really put it all out there this year. Both of them too, they're so witty. Like, they're both so funny and just like silly, which I love. You know, I would say that those two are probably the funniest ones on there, that just out of like silliness, you know. Also, Whitney's hot. Let's just put that out there. Whitney's hot. Her and her husband are both hot. I'm just gonna say it. And I want more of them, all of it.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't go into this like thinking I was going to love Whitney. I did go into it thinking I was going to like Heather, but Whitney surprised me. And like you said, like second, maybe third episode, I was like, I love Whitney. Like, she's just she's like Heather. I mean, and they're like best friends, cousins. I just think that they're great. I think that those two are like this, to me, like the stars of the show.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, let's move on over to Vita Tequila. Lisa Barlow and her smoky voice. Love Lisa.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lisa has to come back. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah, I love her too. I love Lisa, and I know she gets a little bit of, I just see it online, like she gets a little bit of hate or maybe some dislike.
Yeah, she does.
But yeah, and I don't really get it, because I feel like she's very necessary for the show. And I think she's fabulous. Like, I love Lisa, and I love her fast food ways. So just saying, I was like, yeah, I've done that.
I want, like, you know, Teresa did her cookbooks back in the day. I want like a Lisa Barlow, like, day in the life fast food book. So she's just like this breakfast from, you know, Taco Bell. They have a breakfast menu now. Like, I don't know. I just think that when you look at her, she just looks like someone that would possibly leave like such a like regimented, like hardcore, like workout, eat, fit, like lifestyle. And she's just not that girl. Like, okay, so Lisa has to stay. Let's move on to the twin that everyone thinks is her twin, which I personally feel like you and Meredith resemble each other much more than Meredith and Lisa resemble each other. But Meredith, there's a lot of people think that Meredith didn't bring it this year.
Well, I love Meredith. So I don't get that. I mean, I get, yeah, she might not be as like dramatic as others, but I don't know. I mean, I love when she says like she's disengaging. I love her family. I like Meredith, and I love her style and just like her fashion sense. Like, I mean, I die for her looks. So I don't know. I like Meredith. I don't really understand why her and Lisa both get any sort of heat. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, Lisa and Meredith both just bring that necessary like calmness, but also, I mean, they both are very, very vocal about how they feel. Like, it's not like they hold back by any means. Also, and for everyone to say that Meredith didn't bring it, well, what did she have to bring? Because her marriage was the point of discussion half the season, you know. So I think not running from that was, you know, a good sign of her willingness to show up, you know. But I also agree. I love Seth. I think Seth's funny. I want more Seth in my life. I love their banter. He's hot as hell. They also just got a new house, so I want to see that. We have to see that. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. Have we ever, obviously we've had many designer housewives throughout the years, but like, have we ever had one that is like an actual like luxury fashion designer, like high end? Like, her pieces are
very expensive.
Thousands and thousands of dollars.
I don't think we have. I think you're right. I think she's the first one. Yeah, I looked at her website thinking like, oh, maybe like maybe I'll buy something. I was like, oh, nope, nope, my broke ass can't afford that. Like, I'm out.
Like, I hope they don't remember my information on this website because I can't afford nothing on here. Yeah, okay, so I'm glad that you agree that Meredith obviously should come back. And I really want to jump more into like her professional life. I would love to see her in design meetings and things like that, you know? So hopefully we get to see more of that side of her next season.
Yeah.
Moving on. Jen Shaw. What do we think about Jen Shaw? Stay or go away?
I mean, I definitely think she should stay, but I will say, like, I went into this thinking I was going to like love Jen and she was going to be my favorite, her and Heather. And she's my least favorite actually out of everybody. I mean, I definitely think she's like necessary. I think she's a lot, like even for me, like she's a lot.
Yes.
But I still think I don't know. I definitely think that she should come back. And I love like someone who like thinks that they're accountable, but like they're not. Like, you know, some of our favorite housewives are kind of like that. So it's I don't know. I get why people don't like Jen, and she's definitely my least favorite of the whole group personally, but I definitely think she should come back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I agree that she should come back. If I'm being honest, I also think that there is a lot more depth to her marriage with Coach Shaw. And I don't know, there's just,
I would love to get into that.
I mean, I feel like she attempted to scratch the surface with it a little bit this season, you know, and saying like, I'm mad at you and for him not being at, you know, her father's funeral and things like that. But it's just, I feel like there's some really deep conversations that need to happen there. And while I appreciate them being honest about their issues, I also feel like we didn't even get, you know what I mean? I just think there's a lot more there. So if she's going to come back, I think we need to find out. And the women kind of speculated it this year. They said, you know, obviously something you're unhappy, you know, but like, what is it? So we need to find out what that is, and hopefully help her get, you know, to the bottom of it. So she doesn't feel like she feels like the world's against her. I feel like, especially her castmates, you know? And obviously while that some of them had issues with her, I don't necessarily think that they were all out to get her, you know? But if you think about it, at one point she thought that like every single person was coming for her. You know, at first it was Mary, and then it was Whitney and Heather, and then she didn't trust, and you know, and so it's just like she needs to take a step back and realize like you're don't hate that, you know, the players, you're just a part of the game now. You got to realize what game you're in, you know. Okay, so lastly, Mary M. Cosby, and it's necessary to say her whole damn name every time we talk about her.
I mean, I know you love Mary, and I do too. I mean, how can you not?
For crying out loud.
Yeah, it looks roomy in there. Okay, Mary. I mean, my whole family knows about Mary M. Cosby. Like my entire family who does not watch Bravo, besides my sister-in-law, they all know about Mary M. Cosby because obviously for obvious reasons. Like, I mean, it's insane. I'm like, I just, in the way that they're just like, yeah, that's the most normal thing they've ever heard in their lives. I can't. Like, and the cult thing, I'd love to dive into that like next season.
I'm curious how much of that will be brought up on the reunion. I feel like it has to be addressed. So I don't know, we'll see. But there is just something about Mary's energy that just lifts my spirits. Like every time that I get her little title card and it says that we got a Mary scene coming up, I just get like electrified inside. I'm just like, yes, here we come. Also, especially now that Charlinda left her house and moved, that Charlinda dropped her, I would love to see how she's navigating the day-to-day. Like, is Mary going to be interviewing for new housekeepers? Imagine that process. Iconic. Get cameras on that immediately, please. You know?
Right. She reminds me a little bit of like a Kim Richards.
Yes.
And like that's so we both love Kim Richards. So like I mean, I don't know.
I feel what you're saying is because they both bring that quirky, not like I'm not coming here with any contrivedness whatsoever. Yeah. Like they're just putting it out there. They're silly, they're funny. That's just how they are, and I love it. Okay, well, let's talk about the finale last night specifically.
I thought it was so good. I loved it.
90 minutes. OC
yeah, I didn't even realize it was 90 minutes until I was like, wait a minute. I've been watching this for a long time. I loved it.
And I still didn't want it to go off. I was like, oh.
No.
So let's start. Well, you're at Beauty Lab and Laser. So let's start towards the end of the finale, because that's like where the big party was. They spent a lot of the time there. What did you think about Heather's party? What do you think about Heather as a businesswoman? Thoughts on that event?
I am so proud of Heather. I think that she's come so far. I mean, I know we just met her, but her kind of, it seems like she's really overcome her divorce. I feel like pretty recently, and the fact that her like ex-husband was able to be at the event, I just think that's great. Like that's awesome. And I don't know, I'm so proud of her. I just feel like she's like really coming into herself, and I just feel like she's like so successful. Like if I went to Salt Lake City, that'd be like my first stop was Beauty Lab. So like 100%, not the Slopes, Beauty Lab. So it's like, I don't know. I was so proud of her. And of course her event was a little bit chaotic, but in a good way, I thought.
I loved her pink outfit, like the all over, like the sleeves. I loved it. I thought she looked bomb. One thing about like, because, you know, her story ended, you know, at her party with Bill being there. I found it interesting watching it so often that when we meet housewives, like if they have an ex-husband that's not in the picture or not filming, or even if he is filming, you know, and I mean, let's be honest, Heather didn't always say the nicest things about Bill. She was very honest. Like she said that he never made her feel appreciated. Like she was very honest about all the things that she felt she did wrong as a wife, but all the things that he did wrong as a partner as well. And I think it was just refreshing to see kind of a story arc where like she's talking about all these issues she had with her ex, and there was never any like negativity between them, you know? And then it all ended at the end of the season, him coming and congratulating her and celebrating her. And I just thought like that was so refreshing to see compared to the failures. I mean, let's be honest, there literally are stories about the divorce rates, you know, amongst housewives. And obviously the housewives didn't contribute to their divorce, but it's nice to see that it, as of now, isn't necessarily contributing to a divide either, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that. And I just love seeing him show up, be supportive. I love her staff. I think that her staff is fun. I give them a Peacock spinoff immediately.
That would be good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Just call it a Beauty Lab.
I mean, it'd be better than, I don't know, some spinoffs I won't mention.
Better than a certain spinoff that's in the works right now that I've heard production is a complete and total disaster.
Yeah, I love Heather. So I love the events, and I don't know, the Jin Shaw showing up and they had the music, like the music. I kills me when the music is so specific to who they're like. I don't
My
know.
favorite part is I always think like they probably kept this person on the other end of the parking lot in a car for the last 30 minutes to like make sure everyone is like, you know, because they have to like set up the scene. And I'm like, poor Jen, they probably kept her waiting out there forever before they let her walk in and start shooting. I will say, so something that was interesting, I thought like, I appreciated that Heather was being very honest with Jen and saying like, this is what I need from you as a friend, is for you to apologize for these reasons, and this is what I need you to do going forward. But Jen was like, I'm sorry, but Jen still was like, I don't know what I'm sorry for. And I just thought that was so weird.
I'm like, how do you not know? Like, really, like, how do you have no idea what you should be apologizing for?
Well, especially at this point when you've pissed off everyone multiple times, like
everybody. I mean, at one point, like everybody, I think every single person in the cast has had an issue with Jen.
Yes.
Every single person. So it's like at some point you have to think like, girl, like get your shit together. Like what? I mean,
and then that's the only person who didn't really have a major issue with her was Heather, and she raised her hand saying that Heather was the one she didn't trust.
But at that point, it's like, okay, Heather has an issue with her, you know?
When Heather said, does she not understand the question?
I don't know. Yeah, Jen does not take any accountability. I'll be interested to see at the reunion if she does take any. I have a feeling she won't.
I have a feeling she's going to feel ganged up on again. And because, I mean, I feel if you look at the positions of each of the women going into it, I don't think them watching this season back necessarily made them any closer with Jen. You know, I think it made it worse. So, I mean, I think the only person I don't know who she has in her corner going into it.
Lisa, kind
Maybe
of,
a little bit of Lisa.
but not a lot of Lisa. Yeah.
And also Lisa's also going to be Team Meredith when it comes down to it.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah,
Yikes. Jen.
no. Let's see. I was happy that they let Meredith out of the closet last night.
She got to get some oxygen. That
Oh my
killed
God. Someone said, they're like, is it not weird that this is one of the questions we got. They're like, is it not weird that she is so creeped out by hospital smells, but was real quick to put oxygen tank up her? And I was like, you know what?
Yeah, that's a damn good point.
That is kind of a good point.
I've never done one of those oxygen things. I would, I just haven't.
Yeah.
Before, but I mean, I don't know.
I imagine it gives hospital vibes.
One would think.
It has to.
And she didn't hesitate. Like she was like, sure, sure, why not?
I loved it.
Yeah, she's something else. Love her.
Speaking of, so I know like we said that Mary, we think she should come back, but whenever I asked people for questions for you and I earlier today, we had a few of people being like saying that they're worried she won't. I don't know if maybe the network won't bring her back, or if she maybe like no natural connections to the women. I don't know what it is, but I feel like they need her. And I feel that the fact that the original production company wanted to make her a friend of, and then Shed Media came in and was like, absolutely not, hopefully speaks to the fact that somebody in production or on the network has value for her, because they were like, no, we need to make her full time. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could see her being like a friend of, but I do think she'll be full time next season. I don't see how they can't. And I don't know. I think she brought such awareness to the show. Like before it started, I mean, everyone knew about her and her step grandpa. Like literally everyone knows about that. So it's like, I feel like if she dived more into that next season, which she kind of did this season, but I feel like if she really does next season, and like her grandma and like her church and all of that, I feel like that's really good content and just so different than what we're used to as viewers. And I just think she brings something that no one else ever has.
When else are you ever going to get a pastor that appreciates high fashion?
Right. And who has like, I mean, I don't know. She's definitely an interesting gal, but I don't know. I'm here for it. And I think she'll be back. I don't see her lasting for like years. Like I see like Heather and Whitney lasting. I see her maybe like 2-3 seasons. I don't know about what you think about that, but I do see her coming back, and hopefully it's full time.
Yeah. I hope that they really let us dive into Mary's personal life a lot more. Like I want to see Mary at the mall. I want to see Mary like at the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? I want to see just how she navigates daily life and like what she thinks. And I know that she seems like she doesn't speak to a lot of her family, so I would love to just see what relationships she does have outside of the women and her husband. Like what other friendships she has. I think that would be interesting. Also, I want to go see all her houses.
Same.
Hello?
One of our houses is near one of my cousin's houses in Indianapolis. Like she was like Carmel, Indiana. I'm like, well, that's weird and random, but I'm like, okay, next time I go there, maybe I'll just do a little drive-by.
I mean, I was gonna say, can you have your cousin drop by and send us pictures? Because like she said, when we're not there, no one's there. They're empty. She don't let nobody stay in her houses.
Like,
why would you say that on national TV? Like, way to invite your home to be burglarized.
So stupid. Like, guys, there's no security whatsoever with some of these
empty house with all this furniture in it.
I mean, unreal. Yeah.
Let's see. Look at some other questions that we got. How does Jen afford a Shaw squad of 8 in that office, and what is it for? That's for me. If that's not addressed at the reunion, I'll be upset. I want to know.
Because I'm sorry. Okay, so her husband is like a lawyer, but really he's a coach. And I know, and I looked up his salary. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's not 500,000.
Like 400 to 500.
Okay, that
Mhm.
should know. So, because it's like, okay, some coaches, like at my school, like the head coach makes like a few $1,000,000 a year, but he's the head coach, So it's like, but at that school where he coaches, there's no way. And it's like, so he's gone all the time because he's recruiting, and that's great and all, but I don't know. I was bamboozled by him. I don't know how about you, because like when he was like talking to Jen, I'm like, wow, he's like so even keeled. Like he just seems so nice. And I'm like, actually, when I think about it, I just feel like he is shady, like
He's
shady AF. Like, and I need to know where they get their money from and why
well,
she has a million assistants and a million staff. Like, I just don't get it.
well, they said that like he used to, I think back in the day, like he was like a representative for like free agents. So he probably got like percentages of like deals and stuff, which is like, okay, that's fine. I'm not asking where your money comes from because I don't know what y'all did before this. I just want to know, like, when Jen is in that office, like, what kind of clients do you have and what is your day to day? Because to me, it looks like y'all just put up a bunch of white decorations in an office and made it look like that's where y'all are filming,
Yeah.
working every day. Because it's like, she says it's like Shaw Squad marketing, but when you Google it, there's nothing. So, what marketing company in a major city in the United States has no social presence?
It's really weird.
Right.
I mean, I
Very
don't know. Actually, it's funny. Like, that's the question I get asked the most too. Like, whether it's from people like on my account or people I know, like my friends who watch the show. They're like, where does she, like, why does she have so many assistants? And where's all this money coming from? What do they do? Like, just so many questions. So I hope it's addressed at the reunion, like you said, because it needs to be addressed.
Also, like as viewers, we can see through the facade of that BS. Like, and 14 years ago when this stuff started, maybe not, but it's like now it's like, no, it's just so transparent.
Totally.
Hi, Allison.
Hi.
Hey guys, I wanted to jump in because we've actually been getting some questions, and I have like literally pages of questions for you guys from earlier too, from participants. So I do want to dive into them, but I have to ask you, the first question is, people are asking what spinoff you guys were talking about.
Oh, the Vanderpump Dogs spinoff. Vanderpump Dogs
Mention
spinoff.
it all.
I will mention it all right here. The Vanderpump Dogs spinoff that's going to Peacock is a complete disaster for production, is what I was told. And I've also told that there's a lack of content.
Oh my God.
Okay, so one question, you guys were talking a little bit about Mary. This is from Whitney. Don't know if it's Whitney Rose. I think we should trust it is.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Mary's family members that have spoken out saying she's lying about her grandma wanting to marry her grandpa? So people are, I guess, her family is saying, no, grandma didn't want this. Thoughts?
You want to go first?
You can go.
Okay. I feel like I'm not going to say I don't believe them, but I also just want to, everyone should be sensitive to the fact that how many times have we seen housewives start these cities and then they have family members that come out of the woodwork with like crazy BS. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's not true. There are definitely some questionable actions and storylines and narratives that go along. Not necessarily, I think, behind her grandma's wealth. Like, I think that how her grandma made her money all seems like legit. The handing off of the empire and the history of the empire since then, I think, has raised some questions for people. So I don't know. I don't want to say I don't believe them, but I also want to, I don't know. I just also think like there's so many people in her church. Like, I don't want to believe that they would all be so wrong.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. And that's the thing. It's like, maybe her grandma did do that, but maybe she didn't. And like Christian was saying, that's a good point. I mean, people come out of the woodworks when people get famous and they can say whatever they want. And is it true or is it not? I mean, who knows?
I was listening to a podcast, and on it was the Bitch Sesh podcast, and they had mentioned that Mary was maybe even not supposed to be an original full-time cast member. But obviously you guys even talked about it before the show even started. She like became the star of it because of her bio. I mean, what do you guys think in terms of, maybe they edited her in more as much as they could, but with her being kind of siloed from the cast, do you think that that's maybe what happened? What are your takes on that?
I definitely think that for some reason, someone in the original production company before Bravo switched it, perhaps for the reasons that we just discussed, thought that it was too risky.
Mhm.
Too many questions would arise from viewers, so they decided to lessen her role. And then I think someone came in at Shed Media and was like, hell to the no. Like, look, they were right. Like, Mary is everything in my opinion. Like, she's good TV. So
She is.
yeah, I think that definitely we see I think we see Shed trying to make up for that. I did hear a little birdie told me that post-production was a nightmare for them. And I think it was because they had to do a lot of pickup scenes. There's no telling how many they had to do solely for them to fit Mary back into the narrative, you know? So yeah, I definitely think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. One prediction, we asked fans to submit questions, but also predictions. One is that a prediction is that Jen becomes a singer. My question for you guys is, if anyone on the Salt Lake City cast were to drop a single, who would it be?
Yeah, I think it would be Jen. For sure, right? I mean, I don't know who else. Mary.
Is it like a dance club kind of thing? Like, is that the
I'm
vibe?
feeling like Gretchen, like love song to Slade. Like, I think she would be some like "Marry Me." Oh, remember that?
Yes, of course.
I think it would be something along those lines. But if I could pick who I wanted some music from, I want a whole ass album from Mary and the Church Choir.
It would sell. It would sell.
It would sell.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely Jen, I would say. I mean, she's got the mic. She's teed up.
She does have the mic.
Her and Luann both carry the mics around. Nothing makes me laugh harder than that. So
it's so true.
Obviously our housewives have of all cities have faced financial problems before. Lindsay asks, which of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City would be most likely to be persecuted for tax fraud?
God, I love
Who are we eyeing?
I want to say Jen.
That's what I was gonna say.
I mean, I have some questions about like we were saying earlier. I have a lot of questions about what the hell they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just am curious, like, is that Office Space, is that a write-off for your Bravo income? And how much are they paying y'all first seasoners? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Like,
They make like nothing first season.
Yeah, and like your advertise, and again, I think if I'm being honest, that question probably came from the fact that people think Mary will go to jail for fraud, but y'all, churches are not taxed. So there's no telling. I don't know what the legalities are of like being able to pay a pastor, whatever you want to pay them, but a lot of her money is generational wealth. It was money that was established and created before her, you know, from her grandma. So I don't necessarily know that there's wrongdoings financially attached to her there. But Jen raises a lot more questions for me personally.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like the rumors that all of the houses are rented?
I believe every bit of that.
That's true.
Who has the worst house of them all?
Well, you want to know who I think is not rented is Heather's, because it just seems the most like normal and looks like lived in, and which it looks like a family house. Now, Lisa, I don't know if she's just too busy like hitting the drive-through at Taco Bell and McDonald's for her Diet Cokes to decorate her house, but there is nothing on the walls. The walls are bare. Like, she literally had a sign that said like determination, like resting between her son's headboard and the wall, like just laying against the wall. And I was like, you're fabulous. Like, you wouldn't let your son's room look like that, right? Like, it has to be a rental.
I feel like they all rented those like shortly before the season. Meredith too was it? I mean,
Meredith said she had rented it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Meredith.
Yeah, and then they had the flood and the dog. I mean, they're not getting their security deposit back, I don't think. I love this question. If you had the opportunity to join any city in the Housewives franchise, which city/Housewives group would you uproot for?
I'm going to OC to save the bitch. They need it.
Oh my God. Dying. I would go to New York because they're just my favorite, and I know I've made it if I'm on New York.
This was actually a question from the Q&A. Somebody asked thoughts on how we can disengage on the Bronwyn News Daily.
You guys, the right people. Oh my gosh. We do not need Bronwyn.
That we just, like Kim Richards by the trash can, just pray that they like, let her go. And it's just, I actually don't know that I've ever been more exhausted by a single human being in my life.
It's funny though, because she had pictures coming out like every day just about her daily activities, and it was just like people couldn't get enough of her. Like paparazzi was following her everywhere.
We're staying outside of her house, remember?
Yeah, staying outside of her house. And then all of a sudden we didn't see any paparazzi pictures for a few weeks. So it's just interesting to me.
Okay, another prediction is Jen will go off and take no accountability. Meredith and Lisa will team up, which I would say that they've probably already teamed up. Whitney and Heather will team up, and Mary will be a deer in the headlights and try to fight against Jen. That feels like season 1, but just let's do it again, right? Play it again.
I feel like, yes, obviously Lisa and Meredith are like anti-Jen. I feel like, it's weird because we said that we feel like Lisa will probably be the closest to Jen, but it's no doubt that her roots are with Meredith, but based off the reunion preview, it seems like Heather is really, really pissed at Jen. And it also seems like Whitney is too. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how that all plays out. What do you think, Maggie?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like Heather really has done like a major turn away from Jen. I mean, I'm sure she's watched the season and just got more and more pissed. I feel like that happens to a lot of people. And she's probably like she was saying in the finale, if I was talking to my daughters about how to handle a person like this, I wouldn't be like, she'd basically be doing the opposite of what she's been doing. And she's right. I mean, at some point, enough's enough in like a friendship. And I think Heather has been taken advantage of, and Jen demands everything from Heather, and she just can't wrap her head around the fact that like she can also be friends with like Whitney or take up for someone that's not Jen. It's very immature.
Liz Hall asked in the Q&A, help me understand where Jen is coming from. I mean, do you guys have any idea?
Girl, you help me understand.
I don't know. Not one bit.
It seems like when she had her conversation with Coach Shaw after the party meltdown, that she's just like feeling very lonely. And we've seen that with our housewives before, where they just project. But I mean, there's an anger like within Jen.
I feel like there's a level, like, I feel like when she talked with him about the anger that she has towards him, I feel as though that was a topic that they have discussed previously. And I feel like for cameras, they are not really getting to the bottom of, I don't know if there was some infidelity or something that they just are trying to move past and they don't want cameras to pick it up. I mean, and we've seen what are housewives known for? Deflection. And so for her to be going and being like, well, Meredith and Seth are with other people, to me, that language was very pointed, and I just don't know, you know what I'm saying? And we know, again, my favorite housewife of all time is Vicky Gummison, the queen of deflection. So if anybody can spot deflection, it's me. And I raised my eyebrow in that moment. I was like, there's something going on there that we don't know about.
Yeah. Okay. I love this one. Do you think that Meredith getting mad at Lisa for reconciling with Jen after she came after Meredith's family is hypocritical after Meredith stayed friends with Mary when Mary low-key went after Jen's aunt after she got both her legs amputated?
I don't think it was hypocritical. I see where she's coming from. my feelings would have been hurt probably. And I just feel like, I mean, in normal life, I feel like Lisa probably would have texted Meredith and been like, hey, I'm gonna see Jen. And I think Lisa's intentions were good, actually. I think that they were good, and she just wanted to hear her out. But I don't think Meredith is being hypocritical. I feel like she was genuinely like, this is bullshit, and I'm mad at Jen, and now I'm annoyed at you.
Yeah. I also feel like I understand where she's coming from, but that's two different situations too. Like we're talking about Mary saying something insensitive, essentially, you know, to Jen regarding her health versus Jen's out here talking about a 15, 20-year marriage and the possible infidelities behind it. Like, to me, Meredith had much more of a right to be annoyed with Lisa meeting up with Jen, in my opinion. Yeah.
What did you guys think of the like hypnotist scene in Vegas when they're all sitting on that enormous couch and Jen raises her hand about not trusting Heather, who
that pissed me off.
Yeah.
Because the only reason she did it was because it was the first question after everybody raised their hand against her. So they could have said, who doesn't trust Jesus? And she would have been like, me. Like, she was just mad.
She's mad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we saw the reunion. It doesn't look like it goes great for Jen. And more of Lisa being, I mean, it comes from like within for Lisa, I think, of like wanting to make sure people are okay, which you have to respect, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of that whole thing again. Couple off-topic questions about Bravo, but not about Salt Lake City, and we'll wrap up. News this week that Miami might be being brought back for Peacock. I love this question. Went from Tracy, when Real Housewives of Miami comes back, which should they be holding in the opening credits, a beach ball or a palm tree?
Oh, I love that. I don't know. I kind of think that they should bring back the original mojitos. I mean, like,
if they were holding in the original,
it was mojitos, right? Yeah. And I don't know. I'm a big nostalgia person, so it's like, if we're gonna reboot it, give them that. Also, but if not that, I'd say hold flamingos. I think flamingos would be cute.
And Maggie, I know you're a Summer House fan. Any predictions for this season? What are you looking forward to?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I don't know that I have any predictions. I mean, I've seen that I think Lindsay and Luke hook up, which is going to be interesting, considering like all that history with Hannah and Luke. I just think it's going to be great because they're just being filmed like 24/7. I think it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Summer House is so underrated, and just Carl is like looking so good, and Carl's sober now. Right. So I think that's going to be interesting too, with Carl being sober and not really probably creating as much drama as he has before. So I'm so excited.
I don't know if you saw it, but on Watch What Happens Live, he actually called in as like a mystery figure, and Andy was like trying to set him up with Heather. Thoughts?
I saw that. I was jealous because I would totally love to date Carl. If I can't have Craig, Carl's my second choice. And so, I mean, and yeah, I think that would be awesome. I mean, I want Heather to find love so badly. She deserves everything in the world. So
at 11 every night, if y'all don't start wishing for Heather to find some love.
Yeah, I know. I don't know that Carl's the guy for Heather, probably, but I mean, I loved it when he came on the screen. I screamed.
I would be in for like a Heather Bachelorette season in a heartbeat.
What Bravo's really missing out by not doing something like that. And look, it doesn't need to be something that can be recreated with other Bravo celebrities down the road. Just do it one time for fun. Just
one off.
I mean, if you have success, maybe look down the road, look at it again. But like, Heather is such a catch, and I think that she doesn't realize how much of a catch she is. So I think a show like this would have men fighting for her love. It would reassure her. You know, I also like, everyone just wants the best for Heather. So it really
does.
I want Heather to find her meatball, her forever meatball.
Yes.
Oh, her meatball. So cute.
This was so fun, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I am so glad that we got to have this conversation and talk Housewives and talk Bravo in general. For all of our listeners, make sure to follow Christian at Christian Gray Snow, and that's Gray with an A, and Maggie at Best of Bravo, and also check out Christian's Etsy shop, The Slut Pig. And lots of, if you love Bravo, you're gonna love it.
And what's even exciting is I just dropped a collection that is with Maggie and Best of Bravo. So it's celebrating all of Maggie's favorite like Housewives. So 8 exclusive items, all celebrating Maggie's favorite moments from Housewives. So you'll have to go check it out.
Awesome. And also make sure to check out the Dipp.com and use the promo code DIPPIN. You'll get 50% off from that. And that's it. Thank you guys. So fun, and have a good night.
Thank you guys. Everybody have watching the reunion next week. Woo!
So excited.